Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Scharf Show here on 99.1 FM WIUX. And it is officially our last show of the semester. You know, we're at that point in time, you know, this is finals week for students here at IU, for students across the U.S., and I'm going home next week, I'm going home Thursday. So for the next at least, I think 3 to 4 weeks, this will be the final show at minimum. Then we'll come back. We'll start the WIUX start to get rolling again. We'll probably be at a different time. I don't know exactly what time I will be at. Then I will make sure to let everybody know. But for right now, this is the last show of the semester, you know. But we're gonna make it count here. We're not gonna start off on a high note though. No, because the Giants this past Sunday, they got embarrassed. They got their butts kicked. I could say a lot worse, but I am on the air right now. They lost to the Philadelphia Eagles 48-22, and the Eagles, who are known for having those great second quarters, well, they went off in the second quarter, scoring 17 points for the Birds. And we'll start off with the offense. I mean, the O-line was terrible today. Andrew Thomas, who's been probably a top 3 tackle in the league, could be all-pro, probably had one of his worst games of the year. He let up a sack, which is crazy that, like, he lets a sack in a hurry or something like that, and that's his worst game of the year. But you're expecting him to be a pillar. I expect him to bounce back. I'm not worried about Andrew Thomas. Evan Neal got destroyed. He looked like he did against the Cowboys in the first meeting against the Cowboys. He didn't play in the second one, I don't think. But yeah, he looked like he looked like a rookie. He looked like a rookie out there. And it showed. You're not going to have always all these highs. You're going to have these struggles as a rookie. Am I worried about Neal? No, but he does have to play better, especially where this team now and what they are fighting for to get into the playoffs. You have to be better. You just have to be better. The interior of this line has been terrible. They continue to be terrible. I think you're probably going to look at at least between the 2 guards in the center spot, 2 new players playing those positions next year. I think you could see Gates back. I think you could see Glowinski maybe. But I don't think you're seeing, I forget who started at the other guard constantly because he started. I think Ben Matheson, and I don't think you see the center Feliciano back with the Giants. But that also led to the struggles in the run game. Saquon only got 9 carries for 28 yards, and the reason because we were down the whole game. You can't run the ball when you're down 21-0 like that. Like, how are you supposed to come back from that if you're running the ball? So yeah, I had to throw the ball, and Saquon wasn't great today, but O-line wasn't great. He just wasn't given enough opportunities to be great. Daniel Jones was good. I'm not gonna lie. I liked the way Daniel Jones played against a team that caused pressure, a team that had pressure in his face, like I just said. Wide receivers aren't great. They know you're throwing the ball, so they're not playing run defense. They know you're going to throw the ball at least 80% of the time because you're down 21-0. He played well. 18-27 for 169 yards for a touchdown. 6.3 yards per pass. And then Tyrod Taylor did come in, but I'm not worried about Tyrod Taylor and how he plays. But I thought Daniel Jones played well, and I thought that's important. I think when you're playing a team and a defense like that, for him to play well was very important. I think it shows that he's probably going to be the quarterback next year for the New York Giants. He is probably going to be the guy. Defensively, I had a feeling this was going to happen. I told you I was worried about Adoree Jackson being out and having Cordell Flott and Jason Pinnock and Fabian Moreau be the guys. And then you have, obviously, Darnay Holmes in the slot. And he didn't have a great game. I mean, nobody in the secondary had a great game. Julian Love had his worst game I've seen in probably a year on the Devontae Smith touchdown. Completely misread it. Probably could have rocked him and forced an incomplete pass. Instead, he goes for the pick. He misses it badly, and Devontae Smith walks into the end zone. I expect a bounce back from him, but I knew that it was going to be a problem with these corners. No Adoree, you don't have a number one corner with Adoree Jackson hurt. You barely have a number two cornerback between the rest of them. So to have both of them going up against Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, a lethal duo, I knew it was going to cause trouble. I didn't think it would be this bad, but I knew it was going to be pretty bad. And it just goes to show you that this team needs a cornerback. And I know people have complained about the wide receiver, and I've complained about the wide receiver position move, but if I am the Giants, my first round pick has to be a cornerback. It has to be a cornerback. I don't care if I have to trade up. I don't care if I have to trade back. It has to be a cornerback. You're probably keeping Adoree Jackson for one more year, if I had to assume. So you pair him, the rookie, with Adoree Jackson, and then you try to find another one later. But you got to get somebody else in there, and that is probably my number one concern with this team. I know wide receivers bad, but you can get better, more productive wide receivers in the second, in the third rounds than you can at cornerback. It's possible, but it's less likely, we'll say. But from the front, though, I thought we got a lot of pressure on this quarterback in Jalen Hurts, and I think that was huge because this is one of the best offensive lines in football. So there are some good takeaways. There's the front seven with the pressure, and Daniel Jones. That's probably it. I will say the run game was putrid. You know, we haven't been a great run defense all year. Miles Sanders ran for 17 carries, 144 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts ran for 7 carries for 77 yards. Boston Scott ran for 6 carries for 33 yards, each of them averaging at minimum 5.5 yards per carry. They ran for a total of 253 yards and 4 total touchdowns on the ground. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It was a terrible performance on the run side. But on the pressure side, like I said, you're going up against one of the best offensive lines in football. Dexter Lawrence, what am I trying to get at? Aziz Ojulari, brain fart there. Aziz Ojulari and Kayvon Thibodeaux, I thought all played well. Kayvon Thibodeaux probably the worst of the 3, but Ojulari played fantastic. He had 2 sacks and a forced fumble, I believe. Dexter Lawrence played well up the middle, like forcing pressures, got a QB hit. We were forcing pressure. Kayvon Thibodeaux might not have recorded a sack or a QB hit, but he was forcing pressure. I think he's got to learn a bit when you got Jalen Hurts. You can't bend around the outside because the guy will just take off to your side, especially when you're an edge rusher. But against this team, you forced a lot of pressure, and that was without Leonard Williams. And I don't know if Leonard Williams comes back next year. Hopefully you restructure the contract because he has a huge cap hit. So if you can restructure it for 2 years, he'll probably be back. But even with that 3, this is going to be a deadly pass rush for years to come. That is a huge thing. If you get Leonard Williams back for next year, it could be one of the best front fours in football. So that is the positive. Everything else besides Daniel Jones in the front four is terrible. It was terrible. So you got to pick up. You got to move on. You have the most important game of the season against Washington. This is a tiebreaker against Washington. If you win this game, your odds of getting into the playoffs skyrocket. If you lose, they dramatically fall. This is your playoff game right here. You have to win this game. It is a must-win game, and it is a very, very winnable game. We'll see what they can do. We're moving on now. I just can't my frustration about this team because I would scream and yell, but I'm just so... I kind of had a feeling. I didn't think it would be this much of a beating, but I had a feeling it was coming, and just so disappointed in how this game turned out that I just don't have the energy. Why give that performance the energy to scream and shout and to just be an annoyance? And why take energy out of my day when they didn't put the energy on the field for me? All right, we're moving on. I can't talk about them anymore. All right, we're going to talk about the one team that could steal a wild card spot, who you probably thought was down and out, and that's the Detroit Lions. They've been playing phenomenal football, as I continue to say. They rout the Minnesota Vikings 34-23, and I really like where this Lions team is going. Apparently, they like Jared Goff to be the future of that team, I don't know if I'm ready to say that. I mean, I don't think you need to take a quarterback if you're the Detroit Lions with your, pick, and you're probably farther out that you're not getting Stroud or you're not getting Young. Even if you lost the rest of your games, you have 6 wins already. So I don't mind them not taking a quarterback. You probably go defense. Get another pass rusher, maybe a linebacker. You can always go secondary to pair with Jeff Okudah. But this team looks very good. The rushing attack, I don't know if Jamal Williams is going to be there next year, but you got Swift. He's going to continue to get healthy. Jared Goff has played well. And your wide receiver was fantastic. DJ Chark was great with 6 receptions for 94 yards and a touchdown. Amon-Ra St. Brown continues to be a revelation. And in his second game, Jamison Williams gets a catch for 41 yards and a touchdown. He is going to be a monster in that team. Pairing him and Amon-Ra, they're going to be a lethal duo. The defense continues to improve. Jeff Okudah's been good this year. Aiden Hutchinson's going to be in the Defensive Rookie of the Year race. He's not going to win it, but he'll be in that race. This is a very good Detroit Lions team, and I think it's going to be a huge test for them this week going to the Jets at MetLife. It's a huge game. I think if they win that game, their chances of making the playoffs skyrocket. Again, skyrocket. If they lose, it probably diminishes pretty greatly. And going up against a Jets team who needs that game as well to make the playoffs. So that is going to be a huge game this coming weekend, one of the most important ones. I am very excited to see how the Detroit Lions play. From Minnesota side, defense got exposed. Justin Jefferson continues to be awesome, though. 11 receptions, 223 yards. No touchdowns, though, and a long of 40. I mean, he could have had a touchdown if the ref didn't call him out of bounds on that one play, which was pretty bad. But overall, the defense, you need to see better from their corners. You just need to see them better close out a game, kind of. Second, they just didn't. I don't think they put a great couple quarters together. They had moments, but they couldn't put a full game together. This Vikings team, even though they're 10-3, they're a fragile 10-3. This is a team that I think can beat anybody, but they can lose to almost anybody as well. So it's a very interesting team that I think plays to the level of their opponents, and depending on their opponent, could determine the outcome. So it's very weird, this Minnesota team. I really don't know what to think of them. Because if they go on a Super Bowl run, I wouldn't be surprised. But if they lost the first game, I also wouldn't be surprised. But moving on from from this game, we're going to go on to the other big important game, and that is the Chargers. The Los Angeles, I almost said San Diego. Man, it's been a while since they've been in San Diego. But the Los Angeles Chargers, they take down the Miami Dolphins by a score of 23-17 on Sunday Night Football. And a lot of the Justin Herbert critics talking about how Tua is better. Well, they got shut up this game. Justin Herbert, 39 of 51 for 367 yards and a touchdown. Meanwhile, Tua was 10 of 28, 145 yards and a touchdown. And I think this just shows that how good, when Justin Herbert has all of his wide receivers healthy, and Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, and then you got Jalen Palmer and DeAndre Carter in the 3 and 4 slot with Gerald Everett, Austin Eckler. This is a very good offense. They did play a very good Miami defense. Don't get me wrong. But this is a very good Charger offense that can do damage very quickly. And is a team that you have to watch out for, really. Is a team that, if they get into the playoffs, they can cause some major damage. Their defense played very, very well. I was very shocked by this defense on how well they played, especially without a lot of their big pieces, without Derwin James, without Bosa, without a couple other guys. And they still played as an elite defense, which was quite shocking to me. And a huge sign for them. On the Miami side, again, I told you last week, you got to run the ball. And they didn't seem to run the ball enough in the first half. They tried to run a little bit in the second half, but they already kind of got away from it. Jeff Wilson got hurt, but they have to run the ball more. You have to. 19 carries throughout the game, but most of those were in the second half. I think you have to run the ball more, and I also think the defense had to play a little bit better. You were hoping for really a better game from the offense. Was like Tua wasn't great either. You're hoping he bounces back. I mean, you got a touch. You only had 10 real offensive points because you had the Tyreek Hill touchdown on the fumble, which was very one of the craziest plays I've ever seen. But yeah, this was a deflating loss for the Dolphins. Now they're going to play Buffalo. They're 8-5 now. This is a team that has to figure it out before the playoffs, get back into form. Otherwise, they could. I think they'll still make the playoffs, but it's a possibility they don't make the playoffs. It's also, if they want to do damage in the playoffs, they have to find themselves again. I think they got to be more balanced in the run game. I think Tua's got to play better. And overall, I think the defense just has to get a tad more pressure. I'm looking for a little bit more pressure. I thought Jalen Phillips had a great game. Actually, never mind that. They got that's why I mixed it up. They got enough pressure. I think they need to do better on the back end. Mike Williams and Keenan Allen both had great days, but up front, Christian Wilkins, Jerome Baker, Jalen Phillips, their former first-round pick, they were great. They got the pressure. Now they just need their back end to hold up a bit more, and I think they will with guys like Xavier Howard in the back end. I think they'll be okay, but it's going to be a test, especially against the Bills and the long stretch, the final stretch. It's going to be a big test for them. All right, when we come back after this quick break, we're doing our Week 15 NFL picks right here on Scharf Show, 99.1 FM, WIUX. All right, welcome back here to the Scharf Show on 99.1 FM, WIUX. And we're getting into our Week 15 picks. You know the rules. I pick all the single games. Who's going to win? I give you one pick of a 3.5 or better odds of an upset pick. And then I give you one lock of the week. But it is like a suicide pool. I cannot pick, if I pick a team, I cannot pick them again for the rest of the year. So we're down to the nitty-gritty with the locks. So I had to make a decision, really, on what my lock was going to be this week. But we'll start on Thursday Night Football. It's going to be San Francisco Niners coming off a big win with Brock Purdy as their quarterback. Going to Seattle. Seattle 3.5-point favorites, or 3.5-point underdogs, 3.5-point underdogs. At home after losing to Carolina in a devastating loss for Seattle. I love the Niners here. I think they cover easily. I think last game just proved to me that Jimmy G is what I think he is. He is not a great quarterback. You could have any quarterback in that system, they will do decently well. That is a NFL caliber quarterback. I think if you got an average quarterback or better in that system, they would flourish and they'd easily be the Super Bowl favorites and it wouldn't be close. But even with Brock Purdy, I think they beat the Seattle, and I think they beat them good. Give me San Francisco on the road. Then we got the Indianapolis Colts on Thursday Night Football. Saturday football. We got a couple Saturday games, and then we got Sunday game. Oh, beautiful week this week for football, won't you say? The Indianapolis Colts, they're traveling to Minnesota to play the Vikings. Minnesota at -4. And I like the Vikings here to get this dub. I don't trust Indy in almost anything. Minnesota, even though they're coming off a big loss versus, the Lions. Just making sure all these, the 3 games on Saturday. Correct. So we got, 3 games on Saturday. Coming off a big loss versus Detroit. I still think they're good enough to beat India. This is a 10-win team already. Give me them, and especially I think they cover this spread at home. Baltimore, they're going to their division rival Cleveland to play Deshaun Watson in an division rivalry game for the first time. Cleveland is -3. I like the Ravens here. They just went into Pittsburgh and beat Pittsburgh with Huntley. I don't know if Lamar is going to play. If he does, I love this line. And I think Baltimore would win. Even without him, I still think they'll find a way to win this game. I think Cleveland still is kind of out of whack. Give me Baltimore to win a huge division rivalry game. Then we got the Miami Dolphins, like we talked about earlier, coming off against that loss against the Chargers. And we got them traveling up north, as we said, to Buffalo to play Josh Allen and the Bills. Bills, 7.5-point favorites. That is a big spread for me. I don't know if I would take that spread, but I am going to take the Bills winning this game. Miami, I think, keeps it close, but ultimately I think the Bills, they're not going to get swept by the Dolphins. They're at home. They're looking to really take a stranglehold of this AFC. Give me the Bills to win this game. And we got Kansas City coming off a big win. They are going to go to Houston, who almost pulled off an upset win for Dallas coming to them. Or was it at Jerry's World? I forget. Oh well. But Houston is 14-point underdogs in this game. Give me KC. Give me the minus 14. I know they kept it close with the Cowboys, but this is not the Cowboys. This is Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going to have them winning this game. Then we got the Philadelphia Eagles. They're coming up to the Midwest to play the Chicago Bears. Bears are 9-point underdogs in that game. And from what the Eagles just showed you, how can you not pick the Eagles? I have them winning this game. The spread's pretty big. I still think they'll probably end up covering it, though. But yeah, give me the Philadelphia Eagles in this one. Then we got, as we said, the Detroit Lions. It might be one of the two biggest games of the week for the wild card games. Detroit Lions, they're coming to MetLife to play the New York Jets. The Jets are 1-point favorites. Basically, Vegas is telling you they're at home. They're giving them the 1 point. This is a coin toss of a game. I'm going to pick the Jets here. I love the way the Jets have been playing recently. I know they put up a huge fight against the Bills last week. They almost beat the Vikings. This is a team that's going to due for a win after playing very well. I think they get the win here. Hopefully Mike White is okay because he was taking shots, man. Those ribs got to be killing him. Oh, my God. But I think this Detroit offense struggles with Sauce Gardner, with Quinnen Williams, and this defense. Give me the Jets. The Jets, that's right, the Jets to get a huge home win to push themselves towards the playoffs. And we move on to Atlanta. They're traveling to their division rival, the Saints. And the Saints are 4.5-point favorites. Atlanta's really choked the second half of the year. They look like they may be in the running for the division. I mean, they still are with how bad their entire division is with the Panthers, the Saints, themselves, and the Bucs. But I have New Orleans getting the win here at home. I just like the Saints here. They're at home. They had a bye, I think, last week. I just think they're well rested. These games are divisional toss-em kind of games. I like the home team here. Wouldn't be crazy for you to take Atlanta, but I like New Orleans here. Pittsburgh, they're going to Carolina to play the Panthers after they came off a big win against the Seahawks. Carolina 2.5-point favorites. Pittsburgh just lost a devastating game to the Ravens. I like Pittsburgh here to bounce back and get this W at Carolina. Carolina coming off a big win. I still don't believe in this team. I think they fall right back down to earth with a loss to Pittsburgh. Then we got the Dallas Cowboys coming off a very close win to the Houston Texans. They're traveling to Florida to play the Jacksonville Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence. Jacksonville 4.5-point underdogs. And you know what? I'm going to pick the Cowboys, but this is a trap game for me for the Cowboys. The way they came off against the Texans, if they play anything like that, they're going to lose this game. Jacksonville just smothered the Titans. It's a team that can play very well, or can also play very poorly. But this is a team that can beat a lot of teams. If you take them for granted, they will win this game. I'm not going to take the Jaguars, but it is 4.5. This could be my upset pick. I'm not going to do it. I think it's a great value one, and this is one to watch out for. I am not 100% confident the Cowboys win this game. I'm still going to take them, but I think this could be a very close game, and the Cowboys cannot take Jacksonville for granted here. Moving on, we got the Arizona Cardinals coming off of a loss on Monday Night football without Kyler Murray now. They're going to face the Denver Broncos in Denver, and Denver might be without Russell Wilson. Denver 2.5-point favorites, and I like Arizona to win this game where I think both offenses are going to have trouble time scoring, especially with how good Denver's defense is. But I think Arizona, especially with the struggles that the Denver offense has had, and now without Russell Wilson, I just think their offense with the weapons of D-Hop and Hollywood Brown and James Conner, they'll find a way to score more. It might only be 14 points that they need to score to beat this Denver team. That's crazy what I just said. The fact that 14 points can win that game for them is crazy. But that's how it is right now for the Denver Broncos, sadly. Then we got the New England Patriots. They're going to the West Coast to play the Raiders. Raiders are 1-point underdog. And I like the Raiders here at home to get back going again. They've played well in recent weeks. I like them to get back to it. Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs. This team, when they're playing well, they are a tough team to beat. Pat's traveling coast to coast, coming off a Monday night game where it took them a while to beat a Kyler Murray not led Cardinals team. I like Vegas here to win this game. Then we got the Tennessee Titans. They're going out west as well. This time they're playing the Chargers. Chargers 2.5-point favorites, and I think the Chargers, they start to get on a roll after beating the Dolphins. They get on a roll here, especially with their offense looking to be fully healthy. From skill position, still looking to get a couple offensive linemen back in the guys like Rashawn Slater, but I ultimately like them to win this game at home against Tennessee. Then we got the Cincinnati Bengals. They're traveling down south to play Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. The Bucs are 3.5-point favorites, or underdogs. 3.5-point underdogs, excuse me. And, oh my God, did the Bucs look bad last game. They looked terrible. Cincy, I think, washes the floor with them. I think this could be a blowout game. I think they win by at least 10. I love Cincy here in this game to go to Tampa and really put a beating on Tom Brady. Then we got on Sunday Night Football, my New York Football Giants. They're traveling to Washington to play the Commanders. Commanders are 4.5-point favorites, and here is my upset of the week. You knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. I'm picking the Giants to win this game. It's the must-win game for both teams. I think the Giants are the better team. I just think they're the better team. I think they get a little healthier. I think Saquon Barkley has a big day. I think Evan Neal back is going to be huge for them. I think he has a bounce-back game. I think this team just has a big day. And they ended up winning in Washington to dramatically improve their chances of making the playoffs this year. Then on Monday Night Football, we got the Rams. They're traveling up north to play the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers. Green Bay is 7-point favorites, and they are my lock of the week in the Green Bay Packers. I have no faith in this Rams team without Cooper Kupp, without Matt Stafford. This offense is barren. They have nothing. The defense still has some players, but they're still a little banged up as well. Green Bay, very little hope that they make the playoffs, but technically still alive. They're going to try to win. They need to win this game. Aaron Rodgers still looking to have a bounce back. Christian Watson continues to be flaming hot. Aaron Jones has a big day. I like Green Bay here as my lock of the week. Now going back, we are for a recap of my picks. We got the Niners, the Vikings, the Ravens, the Bills, the Chiefs, the Eagles, the Jets, the Saints, the Steelers, the Cowboys, the Cardinals, the Raiders, the Chargers, the Bengals. My upset of the week is the Giants over Washington with a 4.5-point line. And my lock of the week is the Green Bay Packers beating the Los Angeles Rams. After this short break, when we come back, World Cup semifinal just happened, and Messi is looking to put a stamp on his career and get that GOAT status by winning the World Cup. He advances to the finals here today. We'll talk about it when we get back on 99.1 FM, WIUX. All right, welcome back here to the Scharf Show on 99.1 FM, WIUX. At 2 o'clock start, Argentina played Croatia in the World Cup semifinal, and they end up moving on Argentina. 3-0 is the final. Messi with a goal and an assist. Julian Alvarez with 2 goals. And Argentina are one step closer to getting Lionel Messi his first World Cup title. And this was a game, Croatia had more of the possession, but this was a game, I think, that dominated Argentina the way they wanted to play. They really controlled the upper half. They didn't really allow too many opportunities, only 2 shots on goal. They had a couple dangerous chances, Croatia, but nothing insane. Messi was phenomenal. That assist was pure brilliance. And this is a team, and this is a tournament that it's Messi. It's Messi's tournament to win. He's going to go up against France or Morocco. If he goes up to Morocco, they'll be big favorites. But France would be a huge. I don't know who would be favored in that game, but this is Messi's tournament to make himself secure, to really give that extra check mark for people saying he's the greatest of all time, and he's very close to doing that. The win against the Netherlands was way too close for Argentina. You're up 2-0. They can't close the door. Netherlands comes back in the ultimate winning in penalties. But this one, they're up 2-0, and they put the foot on the gas, and they make sure to close off. So they're getting better and better with each game. I think they're learning how to close down opportunities, learning to shut it down a little better. They did against Croatia. That's a good team in Croatia. Unfortunately, that's probably the end for Luka Modric on the World Cup stage. He had a great run. But then you look at this France-Morocco game, so interesting to me because France looking to be back-to-back champions for the first time in 60 years. Morocco, the first African team to reach a semifinal and looking to go farther. I think you're going to see France here and move on. I think they've done a great job, Morocco, against Portugal and against Spain. But I think going up against how many weapons France has, just the pure speed of Kylian Mbappe. I don't think almost any of them have played, at least that often, a player like Kylian Mbappe. Some of them who have definitely played in European leagues, but playing against a guy like Mbappe, it's just on a whole nother level than just European leagues. So I do think France will. I think Morocco will put up a fight. But like I said before, this is what I think I predicted to happen anyway. France and Argentina, with Argentina winning. But it's been a great World Cup so far. So entertaining. Even though it was 3-0, entertaining game. The quarterfinals, that France-England game was so much fun to watch. Harry Kane scores a pen, but then misses a pen, and ultimately England ends up losing. Thought England could have been more clinical. I don't think it's just on Harry Kane, and I think they have to be able to defend a little bit better. They didn't let up too many opportunities, but when they did, France capitalized. They were clinical. That's something that I think England had to work on. Portugal, it's crazy, coming off a 6-1 win versus Switzerland, but then dropped to Morocco. That was pretty crazy. Morocco just kind of shutting it down, not allowing Portugal to get that one big chance. So excited for the match tomorrow, and then on Sunday, Sunday at 10 a.m., the World Cup final. Definitely will be watching that. But we'll move on from the World Cup to the MLB. And we had some big signings as the winter meetings ended. Going on, was this December? Yeah, I think so Aaron Judge signed with the Yankees, re-signed with the Yankees. It looked like there were some reports for a while that he was not going to sign with the Yankees, but was going to sign with the Giants. But John Heyman turned out to be false, and boy, oh boy, you cannot be doing that if you're John Heyman. Mistakes are made, but that's a rough mistake. Had Twitter going crazy for 15 minutes, but that's the life of a reporter. You got to make sure you're right, and you're always going to have maybe a couple mistakes in your career. Unfortunately for John Hamm, that was a big one. But Aaron Judge staying with the Yankees for a 9-year, $360 million deal. I thought he was going to come back to the Yankees. The Yankees needed to bring him back. Apparently, Judge wanted to get back and said, if you can match these numbers, I will come back. And Steinbrenner, give him credit. He said, all right, let's do this. Up the ante. And Judge is back in the pinstripes. I thought, man, he just belongs with the Yankees. The Yankees, I think, would be lost without him. And keeps the Yankees relevant. I still think they need to improve a couple areas. But it keeps the Yankees in the fight. It keeps the Yankees in the fight. The Mets, they had a big couple days. They signed, first of all, they re-signed Brandon Nimmo to an 8-year, $162 million deal, and I jumped out of my seat on the couch when that happened and screamed, let's go, with a couple maybe expletives involved in that. But Yeah, huge. Mets needed, we talked about it before, the biggest piece they needed to bring back. Is it 8 years a lot? Yes, but the AV is down to in between 20 and 21 million, which is, I think, a little bit of a steal. Not like a huge steal, but very good value. Brandon Nimmo, huge center fielder, plays great, or has really improved his defense, has been a great center fielder, great leadoff guy, great locker room and great attitude guy that just is so important to have in a locker room, in a clubhouse. And you knew how important this guy was to bring back, and the Mets did that. Steve Cohen doesn't care about the luxury tax, and that's so good to see an owner like that. And I think more owners should be paying guys like Steve Cohen, because it just brings so much better excitement and so much more excitement to the game of baseball. But huge signing. They also make another signing on December 11th. They get not Jose Quintana. They do get Jose Quintana. We'll talk about that. But they signed Kodai Senga, the Japanese pitcher, to a 5-year, $75 million deal. And that is an absolute steal. I thought he was going to get at least $20 million per year on at least a 6-year deal. Huge steal for the Mets. And that gives you your number 3 in this rotation behind Mad Max and Justin Verlander. And he has huge, huge upside for the Mets. I mean, this guy could struggle a bit, but this guy could also be a huge player for the Mets. I love making that. It's not the safe pick, but it's the pick I would make, because you're betting on this guy to become a elite pitcher, and he could definitely do that. With that, he has a huge fastball and a nasty fork ball or split, or whatever you want to call it. Nasty. And I love this signing for the Mets. Thought he was going to go for a lot more, and to get him, I think, like, obviously, he's replacing Chris Bassett, and I will talk about Chris Bassett in a second. But I love Chris Bassett. He's a hound, innings eater. Loved him on the Mets, but he's more of, I would have been okay with them signing him. He's more of a safer pick than Senga, but I think Senga has higher upside, so I'd rather take Senga, because I still don't think the floor is that low either. They do also pick up the Mets Jose Quintana on a 2-year, $26 million deal for $13 million AAV. And that fills away the Taiwan Walker. Love that signing. Cheap, 2 years. A guy that's played very well last year. Lefty, kind of adds a lefty to that lineup. And just a guy that can come in and be a good pitcher in the backhand of the rotation with Carrasco, with a Peterson, with a McGill. So I really like that signing. Overall, that's huge offseason. Absolutely loved their offseason. All right, next big signing was the San Diego Padres. They get Xander Bogaerts on an 11-year, $280 million deal. Wow. Oh, wow. I did not see this coming. I thought Xander was going to go home. That's what the reports were, to Boston. And ends up signing with the Padres. I mean, I love the signing for them. You got Machado now, Tatis when he comes back, Soto, and Bogaerts. That's, I think, the best top 4 in baseball. It's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. Although, here's what I say. There's somebody reported for like a day they could trade Tatis. I don't think that happens. No way they trade Tatis. But I do think this means that Soto is probably going to be on the way out after this next 2 years. They're going to have to. I think Machado probably opts out. They're going to have to re-sign him. I think they're going to. Darvish is due for a huge payday after this next year. So they're going to have to pay him, and they still have to improve their pitching a bit with Minaya leaving, and it's Blake Snell getting up there in age. So I think they're still going to have to improve their pitching. So I think that will leave Soto out of it. So do you like that, trading Bogaerts for Soto? Yeah, but for at least for 2 years, you have both of them, and it's going to be a deadly combo. It's a long contract, 11 years, but $280 million, that AAV is perfectly okay with me. A bit of a steal for Xander Bogaerts, in my opinion. Then, we have a crosstown rival signing their rivals catcher Wilson Contreras. He's going to go to the St. Louis Cardinals on a 5-year, $87.5 million deal. Love this deal for the Cardinals. You're paying the back half of that contract. Contreras might not be that great for, I think, the first 3 years, though. He's going to live up to that contract. It's going to be a bargain, I think, for that contract. Second half, it could be a bit of an overpay So it evens out in the end. I think that's a great deal, but fills a huge hole for the St. Louis Cardinals. Then you had the Toronto Blue Jays. They finally make a move, and they get Chris Bassett, like we said, 3 years, $63 million. That's an absolute steal for me. That is an absolute steal. Might be the most underrated signing of the entire offseason in MLB. Huge adds to that rotation with Manoah, with Gossman, Barrios and Kikuchi. That could be a top. If Barrios and Kikuchi could bounce back, that's a top 3 to 5 rotation in all of baseball. Huge signing for the Blue Jays, who are looking to have a bounce back year and really live up to some expectations, because they kind of fell short last year. Big signing for them. Love that signing. And then we had a weird trade, very weird trade with involving 3 teams: the A's, the Braves, and the Brewers, where the A's traded Sean Murphy to the Braves, while the Braves sent catcher Manny Pina to the Athletics, and catcher William Contreras went to the Milwaukee Brewers. There are a couple other names in there, like Estoy Ruiz, Kyle Muller, Freddie Tarnick, but ultimately, this was a fail on the Athletics. They really didn't get much at all for Sean Murphy, which is crazy to me that they did that. They get a couple okay prospects from the Braves, but ultimately this was a head scratcher. They fail this trade. Their owner is a failure. I feel terrible for their fans. Failure on an organization on all levels. Terrible trade for them. What are they doing? Like, giving up Sean Murphy for that little. From the Braves' perspective, this is okay. Like, I thought they did well. Getting Sean Murphy, he's definitely better defensive. Now the number 1 catcher with d'Arnaud is better defensively. You'll probably move d'Arnaud to DH. But they give up William Contreras, basically, in a throw-in, and I didn't understand that. I don't understand why you would give up on a guy like Contreras. So I didn't get that part. I didn't think catcher was a huge need for them, so I'm surprised they went that. So that's why it's not a slam dunk, but they did well on this trade. I'd probably give them a B+. But the easy runaway winners, an A+++, is the Brewers. They basically gave up nothing and walk away with William Contreras to be their new catcher or DH, he's phenomenal at hitting, a very good hitter. Is an okay catcher, but really probably going to be a DH. But they were runaway walkers. They barely gave up anybody. They gave up utility man Estoy Ruiz as their big piece. It is crazy. It's actually crazy. That trade was crazy to me, but we'll see. Still got some big names to hand out, like Dansby Swanson, Carlos Correa, but we'll see where they go. We only got a couple minutes here, so we're gonna end. I know we talked about it. We said we'd talk a little NBA, so we are going to talk a little NBA here. We'll start off with my Brooklyn Nets. They struggled to start the year, but have really found their way recently. They're all the way back up to 4th place. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They won 4 in a row. They're 17-12. And I think they're really starting to mesh, just come together.